The first thing for anything to be recycled, it has to first come to the dustbin or the place where it's supposed to come. So if you keep on going littering, there is no way to collect it. So earlier I told you 50% of the garbage which is collected, which is being collected from the garbage dump and littering. So we are not the other so much of percentage which is not collecting, which is still there on the roads and other places. If you try to see that will be again a huge equal amount there also. So unless you collect it, unless you stop this dumping, and unless you bring the whole thing into a proper system and stop this littering, then only it can be recycled. So for it to be recycled, it has to be in a manageable level, and this is the first.
How anti-littering and anti-garbage dumping can support improving social well-being and struggle against social inequality.
So it is like this anti-littering or anti-garbage, it is not aimed at any particular section, it is for everybody. So what happens is, when you leave the unproductive activities and you participate in the development or value-added work, then obviously everybody improves. So your overall economy improves. This one person who is now engaged in an unproductive activities, so we are paying, let us say I am a rich person and let us say Trishant, you are a poor person, okay? So I have engaged you in unproductive activities. My money is going to you, we are becoming equal. But what is happening? See, both of us are becoming poor because there is no value addition. So we have to move away from the things which are not giving us any value. Khud ko, what you say, we should not be spoiling ourselves. So moment we move away from these such things, and then when you go for a value addition, now when we are engaged in activities which will be economically beneficial for everybody. So the moment the value is added, everybody is going up. So when everybody is going up, there are more opportunities also. Right now they are unable to do. Now we see in the broken roads, we see so many bad things. Who are going to do it? There is nobody to do it because all of them are engaged in these activities. Now these people, if I have the people who are engaged in cleanup and all those things, if I free them from this activity, then the same people will be engaged in the development activities. So not only the poor people will get benefit, the whole nation, the whole world gets benefited out of it. So I hope this is clear.
How recycling can help with the anti-littering and anti-dumping movements?
The first thing for anything to be recycled, it has to first come to the dustbin or the place where it's supposed to come. So if you keep on going littering, there is no way to collect it. So earlier I told you 50% of the garbage which is collected, which is being collected from the garbage dump and littering. So we are not the other so much of percentage which is not collecting, which is still there on the roads and other places. If you try to see that will be again a huge equal amount there also. So unless you collect it, unless you stop this dumping, and unless you bring the whole thing into a proper system and stop this littering, then only it can be recycled. So for it to be recycled, it has to be in a manageable level, and this is the first step. Only when you go to the first class, you are promoted to the second class. This is what I am trying to say.
Shmuel, in India, originally we had a culture of being very clean, and we used to, mostly if you see 3 generations back, everything was in-house, everything was recycled, no villages were littered. Every house handled its own litter. There was no municipality or garbage. People came from villages. It's only now with progressiveness, with the technology coming in, with civilization supposed to be advancing, we're seeing such grave changes in India. And the situation, the awareness level is very, very low, and the impact is very much on the underprivileged, because they have zero awareness of the littering issues. I hope you got a satisfactory answer.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Madhu Ganesh. Dear Medhaji, Trishantji, I am Madhu Ganesh from Bangalore. I am involved in the waste mitigation process as advisor to the Economic Forum. I have 2 questions in Bangalore Every day, the wet collection auto of BPMP comes to the doorstep, while on Wednesdays and Saturdays, the dry collection vehicle of BPMP steps in. Despite this, I see a lot of socio-behavioral issues seen resulting in huge dumps of garbage, and they ignite it once in while also causing air pollution. How can we mitigate the same? In Bangalore, we have the vehicle scrapping facility. And for the audience benefit, I'm saying if a car is dismantled, the cost of dismantle car is 1 lakh after selling its parts, while the cost of the old car, is not more than 25,000. We now have proof in 3 municipalities. We can convert all food waste to manure in just 15 days instead of conventional 60 days. Can we collaborate with you mutually to take the model? How can we ensure cost economics are put into the system? Is this a business model? It's a little long.
So I also I little forgot. So you are saying that in Bangalore municipality you have the system of 3 days or something like that, 4 days wet collection and 2 days dry collection. In Hyderabad there is no such system of segregation because we have a waste of energy plant. But since the question is about Bangalore, so Bangalore issues, it will be difficult for me to tell. But as whatever the problems which I have noted it down, I'm sure Bangalore is no different than that. So it will be one of them problem only, and we'll have to solve because the collection process has to be more robust. So there will be definitely gaps in the collection process itself. So that needs to be identified in case to case basis. We cannot have a standard solution for each municipality. So definitely there is a gap in the collection process. If the collection, those gaps are covered, then even this burning issue or the garbage burning issue will also go away. There must be, the people, when they wanted to get it collected, these people wouldn't be available or things like that. Something like that must have happened. Then if you're talking about the business model, okay, business model are there, but they are not self-sustaining business models. So self-sustaining in the sense they are not like you need to what you call pump in some finances over there. Why I'm saying like this? Because it is just like a human body. Okay, human body may the blood is supplied to different parts of the body. Like when the blood also needs to be returned back to the heart, it has to be pumped. So there is extra energy which is required. So it will not come automatically. You need to pump more money because we have a great supply system. Supply chain is great system because at every node people are making money. While returning, there is no money being pumped in because it is against the gravity. So the business models are there, but they're not self-sustaining. So what happens is many people are doing some social services like giving away clothes or selling clothes or giving food and all. There's nothing against that, okay, or supplying benches and chairs to the schools and all. According to me, providing school benches and all is actually not required at all. This is a waste of resources which we are giving. And food and all also, I don't know, there must be people who are doing, but right now, at least in the cities and all, I see there's a lot of food. So we have to prioritize where we need to pump money. Again, I want to say sorry to whoever are already doing into it, but I think we have to slowly move away from giving food and giving school benches and chairs and all and beds and cots is not required in India. People can sit on the floor and they can study very well. They can sleep on the floor. That is not the problem. There, people should not waste their money, and clothing and all. You should not waste your money. We have to spend. Our priority should be funding such, startups who would like to, which is required for pumping this reverse flow. So right now, there is no self-sustaining business model. That is thing. And other thing, they talked about the 15 days or 30 days converting into compost. Frankly speaking, it doesn't matter whether it takes 1 full year or it takes 15 days. Because once the cycle starts, it doesn't matter whether you are doing it fast or slow, because we don't require this thing every day. In only first time I require, okay, this is 15 days or 30 days. After that, it is a continuous process. So every day it is available. So it doesn't matter. So we should not fall into trap of, okay, my technology, it is doing the composting very fast. So this is a better. No. We don't have to get into that at all. And the second thing is, okay, you are doing composting and all is a great thing, but unless there is a farm, right now what we are trying to do, we have to consume ourselves. We are producing so much of garbage, we are producing so much of compost, but we cannot consume it because we don't have that much place for plants. How much we will do? So this has to have a connect with the farming system. Right now, because of the subsidies in urea and all, we are producing at 10 rupees a kg is our cost, but we are able to sell only at 5 rupees to the farming sector. So there also finance is required. So unless that thing is done, this I don't see it going much further. The composting thing, it will have its limit.
Okay. So you're saying that even though there are a lot of people working on converting into to composting, there are no buyers for it?
Yes, there are certain things are happening, like in the garden shows and all, and we are enthusiasts, we are doing like this. But ultimately, for whom are we with this rich thing? For whom are we doing? We have to enrich the soil finally, right? We have to also remove that chemical things and that what you call fossil fuels. Yes, okay. Yes. So we have to stop that also, no? So they are getting you all those things from the villages. We must help in enriching them back. Enriching the soil. How many roses will you grow in your compound, in your balcony?
Ma'am, next question. Arav Verma is asking, why are there no penalties for people who are caught littering?
Okay, so it is like this. Certain things you must have seen. Okay, now through CCTV, I am seeing some people doing it. Okay, but who is that person? How do I identify that? That is a problem of identification. So if the identification is there and it's caught red-handed, there are systems. So in Hyderabad, it has started. So the easy thing is commercial. Like you must have seen some videos. I don't know if it ran properly or not. So we are putting penalties. So first time penalty is a small penalty. Second time repeat double like that. There is a system. So in Hyderabad, it has started happening it. But then you see somebody littering, but who is that person? You don't know. Okay, so there is one system we introduced, and it worked also to certain extent, is that if you click the picture of the vehicle, because most of this littering and dumping is happening when you are mounted on a vehicle. So when you take the number of the vehicle and you combine it with the traffic police. So traffic police e-challan is coming in the same way. The e-challan will come to your doorstep. But the problem over here is you are issuing e-challan, but you are unable to collect that money. You are unable to vasool nahi kar pa rahe.
I just wanted to tell you, in my sister's home, they used to separate the garbage. But then when the garbage man asked them to not to separate, it's okay, we'll do it ourselves. But then they started mixing it up. So how is this working? Like if they are not accepting what we are giving separate garbage, they are encouraging us to mix it up again.
So that's what in Hyderabad, there is no system of segregation at source. Let me tell you that very clearly. Okay, in Hyderabad, there is no system. And in Hyderabad, even myself, I am not telling people to segregate. Even I don't want to listen anything about segregation. Why? Because there is no forward system here. See, the segregation business is very useful when you have a forward systems like that. That means your wet waste is going to a different facility, your dry waste is going to a different facility, your sanitary waste is going to a different facility, then only it makes sense. Okay, here in Hyderabad, what it is that it is going to the transfer station, whatever the the compactors what we have. These compactors are not designed for two different type of waste. It is designed for wet waste, and all of it is burned to generate energy. So in Bangalore, if the system is the waste to energy system, then even Bangalore, I would say that it doesn't make sense. Even the segregation. So you have to find out in your Bangalore, the segregated waste, do they have a system of composting wherever, like they're collecting from your house. Now just see next step of that, where this person who's collecting the house from your sister's house, where is going and dumping over there. From there, is there a system of taking it separately, yes or no? If there is no such system, there is no point segregating at home. So when such kind of system, waste to energy systems are there, where segregation is, even in Singapore, there is no segregation happening. Let me tell you that also. Energy plants are there. The segregation is not encouraged. Segregation means whatever high value items are there, which we can make money out of selling, only those things are segregated. Remaining all of things are used as a combustible material to generate energy in place of coal. It's exactly like a thermal power plant.
One more thing, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you, whenever I see people throwing or littering, I just tell them not to do it. And wherever they're putting it, I just pick it up and put it in a dustbin or something. Then my own people say that why are you so bothered? And they treat me as like I'm not normal. So how will I face them?
So
How will I
that this is
answer them?
yeah, that is true. What you are saying is true. That your own people will be like that only. So only thing is we have to replicate ourselves. So we have to continue to, like for example, I have given this talk today. So I don't know who all are getting inspired, because I see a lot of people who have come over here. Maybe they're already into it. But if there are some other people who are like a beginner or intermediate, they would get something out of my talk. Similarly, now you can focus only on littering and start small groups and try to push this agenda into there, because only you saying, people will tell you are mad. But people like you, your type of more and more people start saying. That is why with very aggression I'm saying, no matter what, you have to object, no matter
Okay,
what,
ma'am.
and you have to create people like yourself. So it is not an easy thing, but it is possible. Own circle I've seen people change. What happened, I'll tell you, in my architects group only, because of my presence, the architects are aware of Henkomat. Okay, so in one of the architects, he threw a plastic bottle. I didn't say anything. The other architect, he scolded him, hey, like that. I shouted. He immediately picked up. So this is the influence you create on your people who are surrounding it when you keep on talking about this to everyone. So this is not an easy process, but we have to create this environment. And don't get scared, don't get demotivated. That's what I have to say.
Okay, Gayatri Shekhar. In my village in Andhra Pradesh, there are around 100 plus houses. We don't have any garbage collection system. As a result, all non-biodegradable waste is thrown in a pond or burnt. What can be done, and how can we educate the villagers?
Okay, so village garbage burning is a very common thing. Okay, so again, I will say over here, in opposition to the popular, I mean, whatever the environmentalists say, I'm really, earlier I was very much anti garbage burning, thing, but now I'm not really finding it too much of, because whatever studies I have made, okay, not that it's a good thing, but then we are burning more things than the garbage, which are more harmful. So in my priority, garbage burning as a pollutant is a less problematic than the other things. So for me, I don't consider it as again, it is only my view. Okay, it is not a popular view. I just want to make that thing. But if you want to, do it like this, so the only solution in the village, because it will be very difficult for you to convince, because even if you segregate the waste, what do you do with that plastics? Because there is no, further forward linkages. So for a village thing, the eco bricks in the school is the best solution. And as sir was saying, ki school mein, what we can say, in Gram Panchayat, it is very easy to do that. You tell the children to get the plastics, as the sir has said, and we will have, in the schools, we can have a eco brick, because there will be a lot of water bottles available there. What you call thumbs up and all those things are available in the villages, and lot of plastics, such kind of a packet and